A reading from the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 7, verse 1 through 19. Then the high priest asked, "Is this so?" He asked Stephen. And he replied, "My brothers and fathers, listen. The God of glory appeared to our father Abraham while he was in Mesopotamia, before he had settled in Haran, and said to him, 'Go forth from your land and from your kinsfolk to the land that I will show you.' So he went forth from the land of the Chaldeans and settled in Haran. And from there, after his father died, he made him migrate to this land where you now dwell. Yet he gave him no inheritance in it, not even a foot's length. But he did promise to give it to him and his descendants as a possession, even though he was childless. And God spoke thus, 'His descendants shall be aliens in a land not their own, where they shall be enslaved and oppressed for 400 years. But I will bring judgment on the nation they serve.' God said, 'And after that, they will come out and worship me in this place.' Then he gave him the covenant of circumcision, and so he became the father of Isaac, and circumcised him on the 8th day, as Isaac did Jacob, and Jacob the 12 patriarchs. And the patriarchs, jealous of Joseph, sold him into slavery in Egypt. But God was with him and rescued him from all his afflictions. He granted him favor and wisdom before Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, who put him in charge of Egypt and of his entire household. Then a famine and great affliction struck all Egypt and Canaan, and our ancestors could find no food. But when Jacob heard that there was grain in Egypt, he sent our ancestors there a first time. The second time, Joseph made himself known to his brothers, and Joseph's family became known to Pharaoh. Then Joseph sent for his father Jacob, inviting him and his whole clan, 75 persons, and Jacob went down to Egypt. And he and our ancestors died and were brought back to Shechem and placed in the tomb that Abraham had purchased for a sum of money from the sons of Hamor at Shechem. When the time drew near for the fulfillment of the promise that God pledged to Abraham, the people had increased and become very numerous in Egypt, until another king who knew nothing of Jacob came to power in Egypt. He dealt shrewdly with our people and oppressed our ancestors by forcing them to expose their infants that they might not survive. In this reading, we hear the first half of Stephen's defense. Stephen begins his proclamation of Jesus Christ by looking at the Old Testament. And what he will go on to do is say that Jesus fulfills the Old Testament. There is a fun phrase, the old is revealed in the new, and the new is concealed in the old. That the Old Testament has hidden within it the prophecy of Jesus Christ, and that Jesus Christ exposes everything that was in the Old Testament. I have said before, talking about timelines, that what we think is important is often based on what happens afterward. For instance, when you read the biography of the parent of a president, You are reading that biography because the president was famous. So even if that parent died before their child became president, they have now become an interesting piece of history. A second example, Archduke Ferdinand. Who cares? Everybody cares, because his assassination led to the beginning of World War I, led to the eventual World War II, led to the Cold War and the space race, led to the development of computers, led to all of these different things, just because this random person was killed. And so his murder, his assassination, is important because of what came afterwards. In the same way, the life of Abraham, the life of Isaac, the life of Jacob and the 12 patriarchs, the ultimate importance in the Old Testament and in their beliefs, the ultimate importance of Judaism was to prepare the way for Christ. And so Stephen begins his defense of Christ by going to the beginning, by going to the foundations of Judaism, so that he can show, and we'll show in the next day, that it all points to the Messiah.